We need them for economic security. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada?
President-elect Donald Trump has said that he might use military force to take control of Greenland and Panama Canal. We are living in a day and age where the world is changing every single day. Trump at a press conference, he said he might use economic coercion or military for him to actually get control of another country. Yes, Panama and Greenland. He says, I'm not going to commit to that, but he might be able to actually shake up the whole world. Now, we all know Panama Canal, for those of you that don't know, is very important for the United States. And Trump has actually said that, and he said that it's important for both economic and national security. Now, if you don't know where Panama Canal is, it basically connects the whole United States with Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil. And if you look at where it's positioned, if the US doesn't have control of it, they might end up paying heftily or being infiltrated because they don't have control. So they're basically saying that for both security and economic reasons, they want to take over another country. They're saying they want to buy it. I mean, they are the strongest nation in the world in terms of their military defense. And as a result of that, even the dollar is the strongest in the world. And they're saying that they might even want to buy it. The president-elect, Donald Trump, spoke about buying Greenland while he was on the campaign trail. And now he's revived interest into it. And on Truth Social, the social media platform that he uses, he says, this is for the purpose of national security and freedom throughout the world. The United States of America feels that ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. Now, we all know President-elect Donald Trump is a man that uses definite and very strong words. And his aspirations to buy Greenland, they didn't start now. They actually started quite a while back. Now, if you're wondering where Greenland actually is a very cold place, but it is right on the tip, close enough for American invasion. Or if you look at it properly, both the Panama Canal and Greenland are actually easy targets for China, for Russia to be able to send missiles or to be able to invade the United States of America. And Trump is looking at this from a security standpoint to say these are risks. He wants to own them. He wants to control them. It's not the first time that this has happened. At that time, he's defended his idea in part by saying he's not the first U.S. leader to suggest it. Now, experts are saying that Greenland has great value. Not only geopolitically, they're also saying that it's a rich source for vital minerals that could aid any country in the long term. Take a look at what he actually said.
Turn to the other news this evening, and this evening, President-elect Donald Trump refusing to rule out using the military to take control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, and also saying that Canada should become part of the U.S. Here's Selena Wang.
President-elect Trump tonight doubling down on his push to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, refusing to rule out using the military to do it.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in a world where a president, even before his inauguration, goes out and he says that he wants to control two countries. And he says, I might use military or economic coercion to get that. Now, this isn't just the two locations that Donald Trump has spoken about. He's also suggested that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state and proposed renaming the Gulf of Mexico as well. Now, if you look at Canada, they're right so glued to the United States of America. They're right there. And he's basically saying, you know what, let's just become bigger and stronger and more powerful. And in his quest of doing this, he immediately sees Greenland as this can pose a security risk to us. He sees the same thing with Panama Canal. And immediately he says, we want to take control of them, economic coercion, or military. Now, if you look at it, the US has the strongest military in the world. There is no other country that has a strong military like the US. And this might be a little bit problematic to where we're going to. Now, not only that, he's also saying that he wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now, if you look at the Gulf of Mexico, it's shared, and he's basically saying that, hey, now we want to own it, or rather name it the Gulf of America. Now, Denmark's Prime Minister has responded, and he's saying that Greenland is not for sale, Donald Trump. He's saying that it belongs to Greenlanders. And also Panama's foreign minister has also responded, and he's saying that the sovereignty of the canal is non-negotiable. So we are already going into a very tense phase of 2025, where the strongest country in terms of military defense, America, is saying we want to buy the canal. We want to buy Greenland. We're trying to protect ourselves. And we're also going to use military or economic coercion to be able to own them. And both the Prime Minister of Denmark and the International Relations Minister of Panama, both of them come out to say they will not accept it. So already things are very tense. Now, Trump's interest in Greenland isn't new. In his latest statements, he's really escalated a lot of tensions. And he sent his son, Donald Trump Jr., on a highly publicized trip to that island. And Trump claims that Greenland is essential for U.S. national security. He's saying that the Chinese and Russian activity in the region is what is causing them to panic and want to actually take and own it fully. He's threatened to impose high tariffs on both Denmark and also to take action on Panama Canal if they do not actually allow him to buy it. Now, the U.S. has already known or is known for being able to actually start wars in many countries. And basically, they're saying a lot of things that other countries are not necessarily willing to accept or they're not happy about. And they're saying that Donald Trump has made several inaccurate claims about the canal's current operations. I believe they're talking about Russia and China. Now, if you think about it, Russia and China, that's BRICS. If you think about the US, you really get to see what's really going on. And it's quite interesting that he's actually saying that in a lot of these countries, he offers annual support for some of these countries and military protection as part of it as well. And he's also saying that he's willing to offer that as part of the proposals as well. Now, if we look at the rank country spending in terms of their defense, the United States of America spends $905 billion US per annum. China spends about half of that at $407. Russia spends about $294, and India spends about $75. Now, that gives you perspective. America spends a lot of money on their defense, and they're saying that Trump threatened to use economic power to pressure even countries like Canada. Now, if you think about it, whoever has got military power, they're able to actually ensure that they bully somebody else. Does this mean that maybe Russia and China are playing around the Gulf and playing around Panama and playing around Greenland in order to invade or plan to invade the US or to fight the US should anything actually happen? Now, when it comes to Canada, Trump is saying that he's going to be reducing or putting pressure on Canada so much and making sure that Americans reduce the purchase of Canadian products. Now, as a result of this has sent a lot of people in Canada into panic because we all know that Americans purchase a lot from Canada and boost the economy. And a lot of Canadians are concerned. Some are excited. It is really going to be a defining year for 2025. And in Africa, I keep saying that if Donald Trump is looking at the whole world and trying to piece in every single partner and every single piece to make the US stronger and more fortified against any other nation, why is it that in Africa we still have so many countries and are so divided, yet we can come together and we can become much stronger? Now, it looks like America is trying to rebrand geography. Trump is even saying that the Gulf of Mexico must be called the Gulf of America. Now, a lot of people have raised up their eyebrows, and a lot of people are questioning the implications of this, international laws. What is this going to mean for other countries? Now, the nations which control this Gulf, if you look at the Gulf, it's right in the middle of so many nations. The nations that control it, it is the US, it is Mexico, and Cuba. And for years, they've shared this body of water. So all of them control it, all of them use it, all of them share it. Now, the Gulf is very important for 3 reasons. The first reason is fishing. Obviously, we all know that fish in the sea is important. Any country is able to do economic activity because of that. But also, electricity generation through wind turbines is very good in that Gulf. And obviously, shipping. They're able to do international trade through that. So there's a lot of tensions building up about him wanting to rename the Gulf into the Gulf of America. And people are concerned to say, but this Gulf has been named the Gulf of Mexico for over 400 years. Why do you want to change its name? We all share it. We all use it. International law. What does that mean for other countries? The one thing I have to say is that Trump is very resolute about America first. First, he wants to take over Greenland, Panama Canal. Then he wants to take over Canada. Then now he's saying, I want to also control the water. And this looks like America's preparing itself for war, because how are you able to seclude, or rather, how are you able to quickly make these decisions if there is no imminent threat? Now, a lot of people are concerned about this. A lot of people are talking about it. I want to know from you guys in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think Trump is actually going to pull through with this? Do you think he's going to do it? Do you think other countries are in trouble? Should they give up now? Take a look at this.
Things going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
I like that. Where Trump says the Gulf of America, it is appropriate. Now, he also threw in some jabs there, saying Mexico's run by the cartels, and a lot of countries don't like how rough he speaks. But as I said to you earlier, because the US has the biggest budget when it comes to military defense, other countries just tend to keep quiet. Now, Trump is calling for NATO members to increase defense spending to 5% of the GDP. Now, NATO is all about defense. BRICS, on the other hand, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, that's more economic trade, or that's what they're saying for now, right? Now, he's saying they need to stop spending 2% of GDP on NATO and start spending 5%. Now, this demand could strain relationships with key allies and potentially reshape the alliance. And a lot of people are also saying, what if other countries leave NATO and say, this is too much? We don't want to spend 5% of our GDP on equipment for fights, for wars. We would rather focus on economic development in between our countries. And that's BRICS. That's what BRICS is standing for. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting, because Trump's statement reflects a broader America First doctrine, because he's essentially prioritizing American interests over international norms, alliances, and what other countries think. And this approach could really have big consequences for American allies. And people are already saying that there's a strained relationship here, because Denmark and Canada, which Trump is saying, hey, Denmark, if you don't give me Greenland, there's going to be issues. I might use economic or military on you. Or, hey, Canada, I'm going to stop supporting you by buying your goods if I don't own you. So there is a lot of under brewing or breeding tensions that are now going to be resurfacing in these days. And people are basically saying that there might be potential violations of international laws, increased global tensions, and China and Russia, they're actually watching. And China and Russia, they don't quite like America. So they actually want America to self-implode. Now, critics argue that Trump's approach could backfire. They're saying alienating allies and potentially a whole Latin American country might just push all of them closer to China. Now, we all know America and China are competing to be superpowers, and people are saying that, hey, this might just let China win. However, His supporters are seeing it as a bold strategy to reassert American dominance on the world stage. Now, we all know that Trump supporters are very eager about dominance and they love the America First approach. And as we're approaching his inauguration day on the 20th of January, the world is really watching to see, are all these things going to happen? Will his claims actually turn into policy? Will Trump follow through on this? Are we actually going to see this happening? Now, a lot of people are saying from the 20th of January, our world is literally going to shake. What are your opinions? What do you think? Do you think it's going to do it? Is it actually going to happen? What do you think about all of Trump's opinions? My thoughts around this is that 2025 is going to be a year of many wars. Many people fighting, countries going into war. We've already seen Israel going into war, Gaza, Palestine, and I believe now we're going to start seeing America getting into wars or going into wars. NATO, I don't know if they're still going to be able to function together with everything that Trump is saying to them. I'm actually not sure if this year is going to be stable globally for many countries. And the one thing I have to talk about as well is Africa. And I'm going to talk about that in our next episode, where we're going to look at what's going on in Mozambique, what's just happened in Ghana, where they have a new president, what's happening in Africa. And we are back, and every single day we bring you news about what's going on in the world, informing you, educating you, so that you can have a clear understanding on what to do in this day and age. We would really appreciate it if you liked, you subscribed, and you left a comment in the comment section. We really appreciate every one of your comments. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you very soon on this channel.